With the Tobin Bridge all but out of commission during a massive 2-year rebuild project, lane closures on the Chelsea Curves Viaduct as part of the same project, and the Green Line extension shutting down several bridges in Somerville and Malden, you'd be forgiven if it seems like the entire greater Boston area is under construction all at once. But if you think traffic is bad now, hold on to your Charlie card, because there's more to come. Starting this summer, a 16-month Prudential Tunnel expansion project will force lane closures and speed reductions on an already congested stretch of the Mass Pike. And after that wraps up, a massive 10-year Allston multimodal project, which involves the demolition of the BU Viaduct, will mean more lane closures. And you guessed it, a lot more congestion in and around the city. Of course, it's all in the name of safety and reducing traffic down the road. But in the meantime, things are getting worse before they get better. In a new op-ed in the Boston Globe, former State Transportation Secretary James Aloisi, who was appointed by Democratic Governor Deval Patrick, and former member of the Massachusetts Turnpike Authority Board, Mary Connaughton, who was appointed by Republican Governor Mitt Romney, argue the new projects have, quote, the potential to cause years of intense traffic congestion. And they say, so far, we're not doing enough to ease the coming pain on commuters. Jim Aloisi, who is now a contributor to Commonwealth Magazine, a founding member of Pemberton Square Group, and a member of the board for the nonprofit Transit Matters. Jim, it's good to see you.
Thank you.
Mary Connaughton, who is the Director of Government Transparency at the Pioneer Institute. And hello to you, Mary. It's been a long time. So we all saw that we were voted the worst commute in America. Yeah. The two legislative transportation chairs were here a few weeks ago. The Senate chair from Winthrop said it took him 55 minutes to drive the 6 miles to work. The House chair from Mattapoisett said 2.5 hours from Mattapoisett. So before we talk about the future, how bad are things right now, Mary Connaughton?
I would say they're at all-time bad, all-time. I've taken the Pike in on occasion. Normally I take the commuter rail, but I'm on that train and I see those cars sitting in traffic. And it doesn't matter what time of day it is, it seems. There's always traffic.
So is she being hyperbolic, or is she accurately describing what's going on?
No, we have national data from this company, INRIX, that does this for a living, right? And we're worse than Los Angeles when it comes to peak hour traffic congestion in Metro Boston.
You know, when I read just some of the descriptions in the Boston Globe for the Prue thing, lane closures and speed reductions, as I mentioned, the Allston, is it hyperbolic to call it Big Dig 2? By the way, I did.
No,
should I?
Totally.
Well, one says yes.
We're not having a tunnel, Doug, but it's going to be
big.
very bad.
Okay, so it's close enough.
Project.
Same deal, plus commuter rail track closures, potentially. What's the best case scenario, even if all of the mitigation suggestions that you guys are proposing in your piece, and that Charlie Baker and Stephanie Pollack, Secretary of Transportation, even if all those things happen, things are going to get worse than they currently are they not?
Well, they're always going to get worse during construction period. What Mary and I are trying to point out is that the Turnpike, which today is a parking lot at peak, if there's something worse than a parking lot, it's going to become that pretty soon. Time is of the essence to begin the process of getting people out of their cars and onto trains and buses. And what we're asking for is an expedited effort to improve the rail service, improve express bus service, and make the decisions today that need to alleviate this problem.
Or did you write this thing together because those decisions you fear are not being made in timely fashion, or just because you wanted to make a contribution?
They're not being made in a timely fashion.
Not being made. Do you agree with that?
They have to be made very clear, transparent to the people of Metro Western Worcester, because we are facing terrible, colossal traffic. And the key thing is to make sure, this is the opportunity, Jim, to get people onto the commuter rail. I mean, if ever there's a chance to get people out of their cars onto commuter rail, it's now with this oncoming.
Okay, so I'm not a commuter rail rider, but if I were, I assume what I would say to you is, yeah, but like it was late 17 times in the last month. And so you're telling me that to avoid a horrible traffic situation, I should take an inadequate commuter rail.
No, but what needs to be done is improvements to the commuter rail. There should be more trains. They have to work on the signalization so the trains don't stop as much. I'm on a train right in front of South Station, and there's no platform open, so I'm sitting there like 5 or 6 minutes, a couple minutes from work.
Charlie Baker and Stephanie Pollack are two of the smartest people I ever met, so I assume they know, and also they don't want there to be bad things where the public gets angry at them. So why aren't they doing the planning you think they need to be doing?
This is, Yul Brynner would have said this is a puzzlement, right? Because I agree with you. So think about, Mary's right, we need to invest in commuter rail so that we have more frequent all-day service, and eventually we move to an electrified Worcester line. You have to begin negotiating with Keolis now in order to get that additional capacity when you need it, when this
So why are we doing
construction
that?
I don't know.
Well, the issue right now is lead time for new equipment is 8 to 10 years to get a new locomotives, new cars in.
So wait a second. So even if we bought into all
There's
of your
option-
mitigation suggestions, they're going to start this Allston multimodal whatever in what, 2021 or 2022? So we're
Right,
too late
2 years
already.
from now. No, not necessarily. There are options to lease equipment, maybe different types of equipment that can be put into service now. But if they don't start now, it will never happen.
Is it true? Wait a second, before you go ahead, I just have to allay some of my fears. When I read in one report there's a possibility of 2 whole lanes on the Turnpike being closed during this, is that real?
It's real, and it's going to be worse than that because the proposal that MassDOT most recently put on the table is to also take out one of the 2 tracks going from along the Framingham-Worcester line. If you do that, I can guarantee people who live in Framingham, Natick, Newton, along the Newton corridor, they will not have access to jobs or health care or any of the other destinations that they need to get to in Greater Boston.
So to quote Yul Brynner again, not really, is it time to admit defeat? Meaning, I don't, is it possible we're just outgrowing the growth in this community is beyond what our roads and transit system can know?
Not necessarily. There's ways to do it. And as Jim said, the key thing is to maintain that 2-track option. So they're saying that it's only to be a single track 24/7 right now during the area of construction. That means if one train's coming in, it has to wait for another passing train to go out. And that is intense disruption.
Is it possible that shortage of money is the reason why you think the Baker administration isn't acting as quickly as it should, or no?
No, if we can afford, look, if we can afford to pay for South Coast Rail and some of the other projects we're doing, we can afford, and by the way, you can pay for mitigation out of capital funds, so you can pay for this mitigation because it's coming out of the Turnpike Authority. It doesn't exist anymore.
And on top of that, they could look at federal funding for this.
Yeah.
One last thing, because you only have a couple of seconds. You're Ms. Transparency over at the Pioneer Institute.
Yes.
Does the public, is there ever adequate warning anywhere to the public beyond a major
Well, we're doing
traffic?
it now.
No, I'm serious. Are there circumstances where
I
the
would
public
say
has
if you-
ever been adequately prepared?
Right now, I would say not. If you ask 9 out of 10 people in Metro West about this upcoming project, they do not know about it. And when I talk to them and tell them about it, they are absolutely shocked. So the key is to get public opinion on the side of mitigation so it begins to happen now, not waiting for Armageddon for good things to happen.
Well, you guys started it. Thank you very much, Mary. It's good to see you. We'll talk more. Jim, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.